Good morning. We got to keep doing some stone for fill this morning, and then get it compacted and get our tamper put back. And then we're going to lay rebar. I brought the tractor down here to get another bucket load of stone and breakfast. And when I got out, the tire was leaking. I heard air coming out. It seems to be from the valve stem, but it could be something. I don't know. I don't know if there's a tube in here or not. I'm pumping it up, and we're going to see if we can find a leak or if it's just something. I don't know. Can you hear it? It's leaking at the stem. That stem would make me think there's a tube in this tire, though, so it's not necessarily there. Nice thing about loader tractors, self-contained jack stand. Well, we appear to be leaking. We are definitely leaking. If I hold that just right, it stops, but I think there's a tube in there and it's leaking somewhere. I can rotate this tire. I did not find anything in it. I don't know what happened. No idea. It's a slow leak though, and we need 2 bucket loads of stone. So we're gonna take it down there, and then we're gonna park this somewhere where it can be gotten to and call somebody, because I do not have time to mess with it. Put a little in there. I'm gonna get one more. It needs to go up in that corner. We'll rake it and tamp it and probably call it good enough. Yeah, we need some along that edge. I'm gonna pull it that way. So, Dad is gonna haul some dirt for me. So he's got our trailer hooked up to the 4440 there, and we need to backfill along this side to keep the stone from pushing out in here. So he's gonna dump some dirt. We gotta find some drier dirt. He had a pile back by the woods, but it's really sort of wet. That's what this stuff is. So I think we're just gonna spread it for now and let it air out a little bit, and then push it up here a little bit later. So you can see our ground is still wet on top. That makes me feel good. It means that I'm not wasting time here when I should be doing something else, because it's too wet to do anything else. This trailer, if you dump it all the way, it doesn't like to come down. Sticky wet dirt. It's coming. See how he does here. Oh, there comes a little. It's coming. Good enough. All right, one more bucket load of stone. Got everything tamped off. I'm getting my laser set up. Oh, that's crooked. It's getting a lot of dirt hauled in. That looks nice. We're gonna take some measurements. It looks to me like that lighter strip right in the middle might be a touch low, and I know we're still low right here. Other than that, I think we're okay. Well, look at that. We did pretty darn good here. So we're maybe a touch high right along that form there on that edge, but I'm not worried about that. I mean, this side's good. This side was half to 1 inch high, but that means it's 4-inch concrete instead of 5. That's not that big of a deal. We are good all the way across here until you get to that edge. We're just 1 inch low. We're good all the way across there until you get to that edge, which we're 2 inches low, which I knew. I said that we're probably a little low along there. We're good there and there. We're half low right in the middle where I said I thought we were a little low. We're actually 1 inch low over here. So we need a little stone along this, and then up along the top, we're 1 to 2 inches low. So could use a little stone there. Basically, we need to come in and go around there with just a little bit more. And I could live with it the way it is. We'll talk about why this is so important in a little bit when I get to figuring out how much concrete we're going to put in here. But stone is cheaper than concrete. That's what it boils down to. I'm trying to finish the grading, and I wanted to get these forms at least in place. I don't know if I want to set them yet, but look we got them. We just got to cut them to length, and I got this corner squared up so everything will fit. Oh, you guys, check it out. Check it out. We are almost there. I've gotten some help this morning from Dad and Phil, and it's much appreciated. But let me show you where we're at. I'm calling the grading good enough. We're not perfect, but it's pretty dang close. We did a good job. We might need just a touch once we get that form set, but we've got some stone right there we can just kind of scoop over and pack in real quick. So Dad hauled a bunch of dirt with that green trailer, and we have backfilled the forms all the way around. He kind of ran it down with the backhoe to pack it in there good. This looks much better. It'll hold all the stone and the forms and keep everything, and it makes it look not so steep, and it's going to grade off just fine. We've got boards cut to put in there that are going to work. We don't have them secured yet because I don't want them secured yet. We've got some backfill in here. I made some stakes that were way too long. We're gonna have to cut those off, but that's okay. And check this out, little feature that I've got. I put a couple of pieces of pipe under the slab here. That's in case I ever want to run electrical for landscape lighting, or a water line for an irrigation system, or whatever else I may need to cross the driveway for. I will have conduit underneath it so we can pull stuff through it. So I've got a inch and an inch and a quarter pipes there, and that should work well. So I also went through, you'll notice all these dash marks. That's our rebar layout. So we're going to put bar every 18 inches in a cross pattern, both directions, tie them all together, which is going to be a lot of work, but that's what we got to do. So I've got the pile of bar there. I think Dad and Phil might work on laying that out for me, because I have got to go return that tamper. It's in the back of my truck, and get some other stuff, and I need some ties. We've got just a few, but we gotta get some more ties. So yeah, it's coming together here real fast. I'm happy with everything. Had a quick seed delivery. Guy that ordered some stuff, when was that? Friday. I just put the order in Monday morning, and it's here already. Today's Wednesday. That's pretty good. I'll take that. So all right, let's go return that compactor. Where did we leave off? Any idea? I got no idea. But check it out. We've got bar. Lots of it. And almost all done tying it. I've got just a little bit left to do here. Phil laid all this stuff out when I was gone, and I've been helping him tie for a while. We've got some of it blocked up there. I'm going to have to adjust some of that a little bit, but we'll get to that. Number 3 bar, 18-inch pattern, which is probably overkill. Probably overkill. I think when I priced this out or had somebody quote it, they expected it 2-foot centers, and I did 18s. But we also typically use 1/2-inch bar, and I use 3/8, which it'll be fine. It's a driveway. But yeah, I somehow or another ran like 1 to 2 sticks short. I had 110. I thought I was going to need 106. I went down to the farm to see if we had anywhere. We didn't really. So we spread a couple of them out, and we made do. It will be fine. Like I said, we're probably overkill anyway. And if I really wanted to, I could probably have them throw a stick on the truck tomorrow or 2 and throw it in last second, but not that big a deal. So I'm going to finish tying bar here, and then we got some measuring to do. We got to figure out how many yards we've got here. Exactly how many yards we've got here. Finished. Everything is tied. We went every other intersection. I think that's plenty myself. Plus I put 2 on every lap, every joint. I know there are very specific specs for how much overlap and all that good stuff. We got it close enough. That's what I'm going to say. So for those of you not familiar with rebar ties, basically we have these little wire pieces with loops on the end. This happens to be an 8. Most of them we used were 6s. But you wrap them around these joints, and then there's a little tool you use to twist those, and it tightens them up, holds everything together so that the bar stays where you want it. So now the goal with the rebar is to have it not laying on the stone, but in the bottom third, about a third of the distance of the thickness up. Dad's blocks here are too thick, so we kind of need to work them down into the ground a little bit. Into the stone so that it's not so high, because it's the rebar adds tensile strength, right? So if a crack forms, when a crack forms, because it will crack, when you push down on the top, the bottom wants to spread apart. If you have that bar in there, it keeps it from doing that and holds the cracks together so that they're not noticeable and they don't shift and they're not, you know, a pain. So we are going to cut it. You know, you can see in here we've got controlled cuts. Those are to control where it cracks, so it cracks in those cuts rather than random lines throughout it. So we'll worry about that on Friday. Okay, I need to measure. We got to figure out how much is here. All right, math has been done. Let me grab my numbers here and I will share with you what we've got. Oh, we also put some blocks under some of this bar up here. Some of those blocks Dad's got are too thick. So, all right, here is what we have got on my nice little drawing. So I made a square that would actually come out to this point here. That would be here. And we can figure out what that is. That's 42 by 35.3. And then we've got a triangle that goes from here that way, but it's cut off on this angle. And we've got this little triangle that's got to come off of it. So when you add all of those up and you do lots of math, we come up with 1,589 square feet. That is a lot. That's a lot of concrete. That's a big pour. Now, here is why subgrade is so important. So, I got a lot of comments on yesterday's video, which I haven't looked at it for a while, but I did earlier. It's better to be low than high. Yes, it is. The problem is every half inch that I am low across this pour, this many square feet, is about 2.5 yards of concrete. So while I got no problem buying a little extra concrete, how do I figure, right? I figured we were shooting for 5 inches of depth. But if I averaged a half inch deeper across this whole thing, which is not level, then instead of 24.5 yards, I need 27 yards. If I went an inch deep, we need closer to 30 yards. So what is it? How deep are we? Or shallow? How do I know? I don't know. So I told him to bring 27 yards. That's more than I thought. And when we started this, I estimated we were going to be around 22. So we're quite a large pour. But it's okay. It's a good thing. And this is much bigger than what I had gotten estimates and quotes on before. I was just looking those up to see what were those quotes for. And the one garage approach was only like an 8-yard pour. He was only going to go out maybe 10 or 15 feet from the front of the garage here, which is fine. That's how he quoted it. It's not a big deal. And then one of the other ones was like 34 by 25. I was going to go out 25 feet. It's half of what we're doing. And for the half that, you know, what they were going to charge me to do half of this, I'm going to have less than that in my materials cost. So, and we got a bigger pad than what we were going to otherwise. So I'm happy with it. Concrete trucks come 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. We're basically ready to go. I've got to get the expansion foam along this edge. I'm going to wait till the morning to do that just so it's adhered, or, you know, it's there and doesn't fall off overnight. We got to wet the concrete down the stone down in the morning. You want a wet subgrade. You don't want standing water, but you want it to be wet so that it doesn't suck the moisture out of the concrete too fast. So we will hose that down in the morning. And then we've got to deal with that over there, but we're going to have to pour some, and yeah, it's going to be fine. Oh, I should get that cut-off saw and cut off the top of those stakes, because when the stakes stick up above the forms, it makes it very difficult to screed it off. So, and we might have to set some grade stakes. We'll do that in the morning, because our forms drop off from this floor height here. We need some stakes to set grade kind of out from here, and kind of give us an idea how it's going to flow. Yeah, something like that. All right, enough concrete work for the day. Let's go check some crops, shall we? We will start right here with a bean plot. Walk out here a little ways and do some digging. Hopefully not too much digging. Hopefully we see them. We don't see them yet. Okay. Where's the row? Got to be right here. Maybe. Where am I at? It's hard to tell. Is this a row? Or is that the row? Maybe this is the row. Getting a little hard. Gonna need some rain. I just missed. Right there's the row. Yeah, they're right there. So bean plot was planted the second week we planted, and would be expected to be just behind. Where'd they go? That first planted corn and beans. So I am not surprised that they are not yet out of the ground. Yeah, they're there. Because we didn't have any heat since we planted these until just now. When I looked at the growing degree calculator yesterday or this morning, we were still sitting at like 75 or 80 on some of those later planted crops, where the first planted stuff was up to 130 growing degree days, heat units. So it doesn't surprise me at all that the later planted stuff is not up. But I expect the corn, the second planted corn, to be close. And we've got a field of it right over there. So let's go look at it. Okay, this field of corn was planted on April 20th. And you can see we've still got spots like that. We are not dry. It is not going to be dry enough to do anything tomorrow, which makes me feel much better about the concrete, because there's nothing else we should be doing. So I don't see any corn spiking through here yet. I would love to, but we don't. But let's dig a little and see how far off are we. I bet not that far. Corn's a little harder to find than beans because there's not as many of them. Beans are spaced every, depending on the row spacing, inch or 2 or 3. Corn is every 6 inches or more. Well, where's it at? There it is. It's coming. I had to have missed one in here. Or flung it out. One of the two. So there should be another one about right here. Maybe. Right there it was. Is. I don't see a chute. I probably broke it. Too violently digging. Well, it's coming, but it's not there yet. Right there. Yeah, they got a little ways to go yet. Huh. Alright, let's go see some other stuff that's actually out of the ground. Look at this! Good news, this stuff is coming. We looked at this field 2 days ago in the morning, yesterday morning. I don't remember exactly, but a lot of them were just starting to poke through, like these right here. And now you can see we've got this, where the cotyledons are starting to open up, and you're starting to get those unifoliate leaves to emerge right there. Beautiful. Beautiful. Clearly our spacing and population control, even with a planter, is not super great. I mean, it's better than a controlled spill of a drill, but there's a clump of 3 right there. That's not what you want to see. But anyway, yeah, this is encouraging. I don't see anything broken off. You know, it's not the most even emergence in the world. Not as important on beans, I don't think, as corn, although I'm sure there are people that would argue that point.
getting a little bit of a crust on that surface, but I don't think it's anything too much that the beans won't be able to push through. So, not concerning to me. Anyway. Yeah. Oh, it's good. It's good. It's good. This was planted the second day we planted beans. Maybe the 14th of April. Something like that. I joke about it a little bit, but actually a little bit of rain this weekend isn't going to be the worst thing on these beans. Like, or the corn for that matter, because it softens the ground up a little bit and it helps them last ones just kind of pop up and through and really get them to take off. I don't want 2 inches. I don't even want an inch, but a ½ inch or less, we'll take it. It wouldn't kill me, but I'm almost done planting, so not as big of a deal to me if it dries out or not. Like, I want it to. I would love to finish. I don't think we're going to be able to do anything tomorrow because I think it's still too wet. We'll get there. I walked across the road into one of our cornfields here. This was planted the same time as the last field that we just looked at, so I didn't expect to see it up, but I just wanted to dig for a second, and I found something interesting. We're right there. I mean, they're right there tomorrow, right? But that one there is good. This one here is good. I found a seed here. Where did it go? Where did it go? I had set it right there. It is. No shoot, no root, no nothing on this. This is the first one I have found that's been mushy. That seed rotted. And it's likely that it was a bad germ. It just didn't sprout. Wasn't going to. Not that there was, I don't know. Given that the ones on either side of it, I'm sure I could keep digging and find more that are fine. I don't think it's really environmental. But yeah, slightly concerning. The seed that we get, it is a seed. It is a living thing. It is not perfect always. And so it says right on the tag of the bag that it is 95% germ, which means 5 out of 100, yeah, they're not going to grow. So we found one of them, I guess. Now, I would argue that I bet if you took 100 seeds and put them on wet paper towels and got them to grow, you're probably going to get more than 95 of them to sprout most of the time. But that is within the specs, I guess. I was going past the house and Ryland's home from school, so I stopped and picked him up. This is the very last field of corn that we planted. So this would have been planted on April 27th. And then it rained that night, and we haven't done anything since. Today's May 10th. So there's one right here. It was very close to the surface. Like, I'm really happy with that. Try over here, bud. Gotta be close. Oh, right there it is. So that looks good. I was not sure how far some of this stuff was along. I had checked. Can I see it? We don't need to get it out. It's okay. You don't have to dig it out. I had checked some of this last planted stuff last week one day right there. And they just had a little tiny nub of a root coming out. So they have made a ton of progress in the last 3 or 4 days since we've started getting all this heat. And I'm really, really happy with that. So anyway, we're going to a field over there that was planted on the 13th. That's the second stuff. That should be all up and beautiful right now. Let's go find out. Okay, he's going to get the rock for us. We're going to walk out here and check this corn that I clearly see up. That's good. The leaves have not fully unrolled yet where you can row it nice and easy, but it's there. Right there, right there, right there, right there. Missing one. Where you at? Where you at? Well, there's one here that didn't come for whatever reason. Didn't germ. Oh, it just hasn't made it. Well, that one's never going to amount to much, but it's right there. It's coming yet. Right there, right there, right there, right there, right there, right there, right there. Oh, yeah, they're all there. Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So, that makes me pretty happy.
Yeah, there's so many.
There's so many. That's good, right?
But maybe not all of them. Maybe some of them in the rows haven't come up, but I bet they're real close.
Yeah, they are. You're right. Oh, can you see that? Look at that. We're right along the trees of the road here, and the sun is at the right angle and the roads are the right direction that you can see them all really well. Oh, it's beautiful. Another bean field. This is the first field of beans that Phil planted. April 13th, I believe it was. I have to double check to be sure. To be honest with you, I thought our beans would be a little farther along than what we're seeing. Like, I'm a little bit discouraged. They're right there. They're coming. But there's also getting to be a crust. And I'm just a little bit concerned about some of these beans. Why isn't there any in there? There's one. I mean, they are right there, and they should make it. But in my mind, they should be a little bit farther along. So, something to keep an eye on. Now, that one there is a little concerning. Well, I guess it's all right. Thought the neck looked a little bad. I think they're okay. I really thought they'd be up and popping through the ground by now. And they're just breaking through, so other spots were farther along. I wonder
Dad,
if you planted these a little deeper, maybe is the difference, which is not a bad thing. But yeah, I don't know.
Daddy, let me tell you something.
What?
How do the beans grow with the dirt covered up on them?
Well, what do you mean? How do they get energy?
How do the beans grow if there's dirt covered on them?
Well, they need the moisture, the water that's in the dirt to make them start growing, because they have to have water, right?
Then it makes it softer.
It makes what softer? The beans?
Ground.
The ground? Yep, it does. You're right. And there's energy stored up in the seed. And they grow off of that energy that's in the seed until the leaves get above the ground and they start soaking up the sunlight and doing photosynthesis. And then they get energy from the sun. Did you know that?
No.
Yep, that's how it works. Oh, this is what I was looking for. Look at that beautiful picture right there. We are up in our irrigated field. This happens to be a lane from last year's corn that we planted beans in 30-inch rows with the corn planter. This would have been the 14th of April these were planted, and they're beautiful. Look at this. They're what?
I feel like, no, look at that one just starting to crack
That
out.
one's just starting to crack out. You're right. That is awesome. Look at them. Oh, yes. You can see our spacing is very tight together because we're in 30-inch rows. So when we do 15-inch rows, we plant roughly the same population. So I planted these at, I think, 130,000, something like that. And in 15-inch rows, we would have planted 150. So it's not half as much spacing in each row, but it's close to being twice as far apart. But look, these are even spaced pretty good. I mean, they're not perfect, but for beans in 30-inch rows, that's pretty good. I like it. I like it. We got a couple still coming, some stragglers.
Dad, why is this in there?
Leaves on. Oh, these are gorgeous. This is fantastic. Now, let's go look out here and see. Yep, there is. And see what the residue has made a difference. And they're still there. They're harder to see, but they're still there. It looks so good. Oh, I'm so happy. Well, I was checking some more corn, and I went right by this wheat field, and I thought, oh, we need to look at this. See that? Not really, you can't. That leaf there at the top, that is the flag leaf. What kind of bird is it? I don't know what kind of bird it is. The flag leaf is the leaf responsible for majority of the yield on wheat. Like, that is the most important leaf on this entire plant, and we need to make sure it's protected and doesn't get any disease in it. Now, wait a minute. Now this one has got another leaf coming out. Maybe I'm off.
This leaf is up to my...
I think so. I'm not as good at wheat as I am at corn and beans, so I'm going to talk to Dad, see what he thinks. But we might have to spray wheat tomorrow. is one of those high intensive management crops. Like, we have already sprayed this field of weeds 2 times with nitrogen, 1 time with a herbicide. And we are going to spray it 2 more times with fungicide. Once at flagleaf with some Quilt Excel, and then again at heading for head scab fungicide. So, yeah, a lot goes into growing a good wheat crop. One last cornfield to look at. This is the very, very first planted corn, and I don't know how well you guys can see it, but I can row it all the way across the field. It's beautiful. It's all there. This leaf is starting to unroll, and it's gonna be, yeah, we're off to the races on this stuff. Whew. That's a sigh of relief right there. That's what that was. Yeah. Planted April 12th. 3.5 weeks to emerge. 2.5 weeks of 0 growing degree days, just cold. And here it is. Yeah, it's awesome. Well, we finished the night with some tree planting. Got a couple of them in. They'll work. They will work. We might have to get some wires to brace them a little bit, but we'll see how it does. At least it won't be blowing over on me all the time now. So thanks for watching today. Have a great night. Concrete tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. And then maybe field work. I doubt it, but it's possible. We'll see how it goes. See you in the morning. Oh, go, get yourself some Borderview Farms merch. Farmfocus.com, plant 23% off. I'm tired. Good night. How are you?
Say hi. Clap your hands.
You can't clap your hands.
Sure you can. Yay.
Yeah.